"Yes," he replied, his voice shifting, darker now. "But there's something I want in return. Be my girlfriend, be intimate with me, keep me company whenever I ask." His words, once sweet, had turned to poison. Diana felt her stomach churn. All the wealth in the world couldn't make her compromise her soul. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, "Never sell your integrity, Diana. It's the most precious thing you own." Her voice, firm and unwavering, cut through the velvet air. "Hell no, Richard. Do you think I'm for sale? I'm not, oh, Mr. Man." And with that, she threw her drink in his face, the cold liquid splashing like ice against his smug expression. "You know what?" she continued. "I was thinking of requesting financial help for my mom's hospital bills since we are friends, and you always lavish me with expensive gifts, assuring me of more if I asked. But I never knew this was your motive behind it all. You are a disgrace to men. I'll send back those gifts you've been giving me." Feeling humiliated, Richard tried to touch her arm, but she pulled away, her voice echoing even louder so that everyone in the restaurant could hear. "I'm not interested in your money or your disgusting offer, Richard." The restaurant went silent, every eye turning to witness the confrontation. Richard, stunned, wiped his face, his expression darkening. "You're making a mistake, Diana," he said, his voice icy, his pride wounded. "This is an opportunity you won't get again." But Diana stood, tall and unyielding. "I'd rather struggle with my integrity than live in comfort with shame," she said, her voice as strong as iron. She took one last look at him, the man who had tried to buy her soul, and left the restaurant with her head held high, even as tears threatened to spill from her eyes, her makeup ruining the red eyes pencil she applied to her eyelids as it streaks in the soft light. "Goodbye," she said, and weighed in shame. Years passed, and Diana graduated with honors, the weight of her journey etched into her heart like the lines of a well-worn map. Yet the road ahead was not as bright as she had hoped. As she sought for a job that would support her, that would allow her to support her ailing mother. The job market was a vast, barren desert, and despite her qualifications, rejection letters piled like autumn leaves, each one a reminder of how fragile dreams could be. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of silence, a beacon of hope appeared. She was hired as an accounting manager at a well-known company. The salary, though modest compared to her struggles, brought a breath of relief, like the first drop of rain on parched earth. Little did she know, however, that this place was woven into the past she had tried to leave behind. The company, unbeknownst to her, was owned by none other than Richard. His name lay hidden behind layers of protocol, like a serpent waiting in the shadows. He had recognized her during the hiring process and saw in this a twisted opportunity to exact his revenge for the public humiliation she had served him that fateful night at the restaurant. Diana threw herself into her new role with fervor, her work ethic shining like a bright, untouchable star. But soon, strange currents began to pull at her, unseen forces swirling around her like dark clouds before a storm. Her projects were reassigned mysteriously, meetings held without her, decisions made behind closed doors. It was subtle, like whispers in the wind, but Diana could feel the weight of manipulation pressing down on her, heavy and cold. When she tried to speak up, she was subtly undermined by her colleagues, who seemed to be under some invisible influence. Then came the summons, like a ghost from the past. Richard wanted to see her. This would be the first time she would be meeting the CEO of the company. When she entered his office, her heart stilled. He sat there, his back to her, his presence as cold and polished as the glass walls that surrounded him. Slowly, he turned his chair, his gaze locking onto hers. The years had been kind to his exterior, but beneath, Diana could see the familiar face even though they were slight changes, it still possessed the familiar cruelty lurking in his eyes. "It's been a while, Diana," he said, his voice low and almost sweet, but the edge of malice was unmistakable. "Richard," she whispered, her voice barely steady, disbelief flooding her veins like ice water. He leaned back in his chair, his smile predatory. "You've done well for yourself, I see. But business isn't just about hard work. It's about connections and taking advantage of opportunities." The words hung between them like a noose. Diana felt the memories rush back, his offer, his arrogance, his attempt to buy her soul. She knew now what this was. He hadn't forgotten. He was reminding her of the time she had turned down his offer, of how she had walked out of that restaurant with her dignity, leaving him humiliated. Now he was here to make her pay. Richard leaned forward, his smile fading into something darker. "That $1 million offer is still on the table," he said, his voice a quiet storm. Diana stood her ground, her hands trembling slightly at her sides, but her voice was steady. "I'm here to do my job, Richard, not to play games." Richard's expression hardened, his ego flaring up like wildfire. "Job," he scoffed. "You think you got this job because of your resume? I gave you this job, Diana. Without me, you'd still be out there, jobless. I made you." Diana's heart pounded, but she didn't flinch. She stared at him, her voice calm but filled with the quiet storm of her integrity. "Then I'll submit my resignation." Richard laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "The once strong Diana is now at my mercy," he sneered, his eyes narrowing with satisfaction. "Where's all that strength now?" Thank you so much for watching part 2 of this gripping story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling us what you learned from Diana's incredible journey. Also, be sure to check out part 3 of this story, where the drama continues.